Okay, this video will be for the repairs of equipment, motorcycles, cars, anything that I have owned in the past, and how I do it, basically. Whenever it comes time for maintenance and or repairs, I go to my manuals and guides, which I purchased separately to make these repairs to my equipment. Okay, where I have them is in my garage space right here, and they are all organized in on a rack, which you can find very easily for doing whatever repairs I have for everything that I currently own. Anything that I have owned in the past, okay, I tend not to keep in this file. I usually just keep current machinery and equipment repair guides for what I currently own, not for what I have owned in the past. All my archive stuff has either been given away to charity or is in my office, okay? But when I go to my go-to guides, they're in the garage on the top shelf, and I will show you a picture of them, okay? They are right here. Okay, you see all those guides up there, and they're all by whatever machine and equipment that you want to maintain. Okay, so this is your go-to place for your guides and information if I have it in print. If not, you'll have to go to YouTube and or the internet to get your information, which is probably sometimes better than a written guide. Okay, so this is where they are in the garage on the top shelf. Okay, going along the line of the repair and replacement of your maintenance items on your equipment, after you have gone through the manual to look up what you need, air, oil, or gas, filters, and etc., okay, then the next step is to find out what the part numbers are. And that usually takes a little doing, because a lot of the repair manuals do not include part numbers. So even if you have a parts manual, sometimes it's hard to find the numbers. But you don't necessarily get part numbers very often when you get owner manuals and repair manuals. So the best way to do it sometimes is to just go out to your machine that you're working on and see if you can get a part number off of the parts that are on the machine or equipment that you're trying to maintain, if you can't find a parts manual to look them up by, to make sure that you're getting the right part for your machine. And it can be very confusing if you go online sometimes, because a lot of parts fit multiple machines and equipment, so it's hard to determine if it's the real part that you need for your equipment. The best way to do it is to actually go to the machine or equipment that you're maintaining and get the part number from that. And then from there, you can go to the internet and you can research the parts and get them on order, which is the next step, is to order all the parts that you need to do the maintenance before you start, because you don't want to get in the middle of the job and find out you don't have the right part, or you don't have the part, period. Okay, so that's why you go to the steps that we've gone so far: manual, and then part numbers, and now we've ordered the parts and we have to wait a few days for them to come in. Once the parts are here, then we can schedule or figure out when we're going to maintain the equipment that we are working on. Okay, just step 2. Okay, now that you have figured out what you need and you've gotten your parts in, which we're still missing a few to do this 100-hour maintenance. The 100-hour maintenance on mowers, on this 54-inch mower, is almost identical to the 25-hour maintenance of changing the oil and greasing it and doing inspections and tire pressures and things of that nature. But at the 100-hour maintenance, you do a complete oil change where you change the filter on the engine, and you also change the gas filter along with the air filter. Unfortunately, I only have the oil filter today. The gas and the air filter is on order, but they're very simple to put in once they arrive. So we're going to do the bulk of the 100-hour maintenance today, and we're going to change the oil. We're going to check the tire pressures. We're going to do inspections of the belts and things of that nature to see if there's anything out of whack. And we're going to do a grease job of all the fittings that need to have grease at every 25-hour maintenance, as well as the 100-hour maintenance. So here we go. Okay, now we're getting ready to do the 100-hour maintenance on the 54-inch Husqvarna mower. Okay, the 100-hour maintenance on other machines may be different, but this is for the 54-inch Husqvarna. And as you note, here is my owner's or repair shop manual, which tells you all the things that have to be done, which are changing the oil filter at 100 hours, gas filter, air filter, and grease the unit, which is part of the 25-hour and 100-hour service, and changing the oil itself is at a 25-hour interval as well. But this is for the 100-hour interval, which takes a little bit more effort and more parts. The additional parts are oil filters, air filters, and gasoline filters. Okay, so let's get started, and we will get this going. So the first thing we got to do is we have to pull our stuff together that we're going to need to do the service. Okay, so when on all of my yard equipment and my smaller equipment under like 50 horsepower, I use regular oil, not synthetic. Okay, I use a 15W40 oil when I do my maintenance of all my equipment. That's just regular small engine stuff. Okay, so you got to get your oil together. Okay, and you're going to bring it over here because you're going to have to measure it out in order to pour it into the engine. Okay, so you need your engine oil. Okay, 1, 2, you need your grease gun. Okay, number 2, grease gun. Okay, all right, number 3, you have to get wrenches in order, and down here you have what I call my drain pan area, where I put all my drain pans for collection of the oil. All right, so what we got to do first is we have to drain the oil. Now we have already run the motor, okay, to mow the grass, so the engine is hot, the oil is warm, so it's always good to start the motor, let it run a little bit even if you're not going to mow, and allow it to come up to temperature a little bit so that when you go to change it, you get all the impurities mixed up in the oil, and all of the waste product that is in the engine is mixed in the oil, so you get it out all at once. Okay, so here we go to get the oil started to drain out of the engine. Okay, this takes 2 tools you will need to do this. One open and adjustable, and a second open and adjustable, because I'll show you how that works. Now you come back here to the back of the engine, or the motor, and right here you put the drain pan underneath here. And if you notice, right over here in this part right down in here is the plug that you have to take out in order to get the engine oil to come out. Right here. Engine oil's right here. Okay, now there's a lock nut here and a lock nut here. That's why you have to have the 2 wrenches. Okay, these two wrenches fit right on top, you know, once you get them adjusted correctly. They go right on the nuts on top, and then you can take the oil out. But without the second wrench, you're going to twist off the end of the nut, okay? And you don't want to do that.
So you're basically keeping the second inner nut stationary.
Correct, so that it doesn't ruin the drain hose, which it's connected to. Okay? But sometimes getting the damn thing on there is a royal pain. Okay. Okay. What I'm doing now is I'm going to get the right size metric wrench sometimes, because it's easier to have a fitted wrench than it does an adjustable wrench to get it on to those fittings. Okay, and it looks to me like we're going to be looking at a 17-inch wrench.
Take a couple of them.
17-inch. Yeah, 17-inch
Take a couple.
is the size metric millimeter wrench. You need to take those plugs out. Take the plug out. But you have to have the one on the inside to keep from twisting off your, you do not want to twist off your hose connections. Because see, if I just put it on here like this, and guess what, 17 don't fit. Husqvarna 18 millimeters of Peckerwoods. Yeah, you do that so that you have to buy special. Yeah. Just the way they do it. So, back to the open and adjustables, because you're not going to be able to get the, unless you got 18, you got an odd size, you're not going to be able to get it on there. There we go. So, there we go. So you have to hold this one tight to the body of the engine when you open it with this other one, or else you'll break it off, and then the oil drain tube will become useless. There we go. Once it's cracked like that, you can leave your wrench right where it is, because it's something that you're going to have on there in order to tighten it back up. Okay? Now the oil is starting to drain out. Okay? Can you see that with the camera? Okay, so now what you do while that's draining,
We have a light.
yeah, we could get one. Hold on, let me get one. Okay? So that's a little bit of extra light for you. Okay? Now, while that's draining, okay, we're going to start doing the other services and inspections that we have to do in order to do this maintenance. So let's get stuff opened up so we can do our inspections and maintenance. Shit. This is the belt area, or the belt area underneath the mower, where the mower deck is. You have to remove that screw and pull this up and out of your way so that you can get in there to do your maintenance. And the maintenance being, we have to grease this fitting here, we have to grease that fitting out there, and we have to grease the fitting in here. Okay, so that's part of the maintenance, as well as we have to grease the fittings here, right out here, right out here, and then down here on the wheel there's a fitting that we have to get. Okay, so right now we're going to try and do our greasing. All right, so what you get is you get yourself a little paper towel, okay, and a grease gun. All right, now what you do is, when you're greasing all your fittings, okay.
What kind of grease is that in the grease gun? When you run out, what do you have to buy more? What kind of grease are we talking about?
Well, I may have to put some in today, so you're going to see exactly what it is. You buy it by the pound. It's 4-pound tubs, and you get it at AutoZone or Advanced Auto. Now
you get it in that cylinder.
I'll show you
Okay.
when it comes time,
Okay.
if we need to. Okay, so what you do is you wipe away some of the grease that's all over the fucking place over here, okay, with your rag, okay, trying not to get it all over the floor to track it around, but you want to get it cleaned up a little bit. All right, then you put your grease gun on here, like so, holding the tip. You start pressing the grease in. Now you grease this until you see it come out the bottom, or it might even come out the top, but I don't think so. I think it's going to come out the bottom. So you keep watching until the grease comes out. Keep greasing.
And the greasing is done how often?
Every 25 hours,
Okay.
along with your 100 hours.
Yep.
Now, I'm running out of grease. You'll feel that the handle will get really loose, like that, and it doesn't have any resistance. That means you run out of grease. So, here's how we're going to have to refill this. Okay? So come along.
And you use tubes?
No. Well, you can use tubes, but I find them to be as hard to use as just filling them, and they're harder to find, the ones that fit just right, because inside here you'll see there is a tube. All right, so now to fill the grease gun, you have to unscrew this like this. All right, and you'll see there's grease on the top. All right, and then what you have to do is you have to pull it all the way back. It's like a spring plunger. Okay, like that. All right. And you will see that there is a tube in here, okay, that I just leave in here. Now you could use just a tube and plug it in, all right?
Would I remove that tube that's in there?
Right,
Okay.
because the new tube would just fit right in there. But I don't buy tubes because I find them to be very expensive, one. Two, they are not any easier to use because they're, once you see me start to get the pressure back on, I buy my grease in these 4-pound tubs. Yeah, I think it's 4 pounds. Yeah, 4 pounds. This came from CarQuest, which I think is Advanced Auto. Okay.
It says what in the yellow? High temp.
It's a high temp disc brake wheel grease, bearing grease. Okay.
Get a good shot of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason I do that is the cartridge ones that go in these guns don't usually have that high temp stuff because this is made to grease bearings on cars. So this is dual purpose. If I have to do a bearing on a car, grease a bearing in a car, I can use this grease. As well as I can use it in my grease gun for greasing my equipment, all right? So it's a dual purpose grease. The cartridges are okay, but you'll find that you're not gonna get high temp wheel bearing grease in them, and they're a little bit harder to find and all this other horse shit. So what I do is I just get
What
the,
is the fair price for that? So we know.
this is about $9, $10 now, I think,
So we know.
all right? Because I'm gonna need some more after today, as a matter of fact. Then what I do,
And where did you say you buy it?
I think Advanced Auto Parts has it.
Walmart would not have it.
Probably no. Advanced Auto Parts only. And if you go online, you get at least 15% off if you order it online before you go down and pick it up. Okay? But as you see, I've been using it quite a bit. And I'm almost out. So this will probably be my last grease gun fill that I get with this tub because I'm almost out of grease. Okay? But what I do is I just take the just a ruler,
Yep.
and then I scoop the grease out, and I put it all the way down the bottom, okay, far down into the tube as I can, and I just fill it all the way up. And a tub of this 4 pounds of grease will last you for years, okay? Where the tubes don't last that long. I find that a lot of the tubes, they only put them, they even cheat you out of the about 1 inch of space inside the tube in order to not put as much grease in there as you can get when you fill it yourself. But I always, never fails, when I get to doing a maintenance like this, the grease gun runs out of grease. It's almost a given, okay? As a matter of fact, I hope I'll have enough to do this maintenance because I'm really down there. And what I do to get the air bubbles out is you have to take your stick or your ruler and you have to punch it down in, and what it does is it gets all the air bubbles out. Okay? It makes the grease settle to the bottom of the tube. But it looks like I'm going to be running out here. But this is how you fill the grease gun. And that doesn't just mean this one. I have other ones too as well. So Just keep going until you get it full. You can cut the video for right now. Okay, now once you get the grease gun as full as you can, you're going to want to mount it a little bit like this. Put a little bit higher than the actual opening. Reason you do that is because you want it to be able to get pressurized naturally by just putting the cover back on. See? So you put it up in here like this, and by screwing it down, it automatically puts a little bit more pressure on the gun without even putting the spring in down yet. Okay, so you screw this up tight like that. Okay, now you've more or less got your grease gun full. All right, but what you want to do is you're using a 1-foot ruler, okay, and you're using a spatula when you get down to the end of the bucket, because when the bucket is empty, you want to make sure you clean as much of it out as you can in order to not waste any. All right, but then you got to more or less clean your tools off. So you just take a little tissue, because grease is very, very gooey and sticky. Okay, and you try and clean up after yourself so you don't end up with a big ass mess, because if you make a big mess and then you try and clean up, you'll end up walking yourself back into it. Right, so now you're going to use a lot of tissues doing greasing and a lot of tissues doing oil changes. So that's one of the things you're going to do even if it's your car. Okay, so now we got this empty. Put this away. All right, now what we have to do is we got to get pressure back in this gun so it starts shooting out grease. All right, now the way you do that, okay, is down here. See, this plunger is like a spring, and there's a big plunger on the inside that puts pressure on the grease that pours it up into the hose. Okay, so what you have to do is right down here, you're going to see this little tab thing. Okay, tabby thing. It's right on the corner there. This little tab. All right, you're going to pull back on your gun spring while you push down on that tab. Now what it's doing is right now the spring has been released, okay, from the plunger. See, and the plunger is kind of like.
So you pulled that out, or you pushed it down?
I push, huh? You push it down. Push it down. You push the square down.
You pushed it down with your thumb.
As you're pulling back on this to release the.
Okay.
It's like a little, like a catch. All right. Now, the next thing you do is you try and see if it works. See, you got pressure.
Yeah.
If you got pressure in your handle,
some resistance.
okay, whether it's this kind of handle or whether it's this kind of handle, there should be some kind of resistance here. Okay, that means that the pressure is coming back into the line. All right. Now, all these stupids. I'm going to use a lot of these tissues because some of these were only wiped lightly, and you're going to need a lot of them to finish the grease job. So we're going back over to finish up the grease job. Okay, now we're back to the grease fitting that we were on when we ran out of grease. So if you get grease on your hands, you're not going to be able to hold the stupid line because it's so slippery. So you want to put this back on, and you want to start hopefully getting it. See, there's no pressure in my line now, see? Now we got to get pressure back in the line.
So you have air in there that you're trying to release, and where's the air going? In here now.
Well, it's not air. Basically what it is the spring is stuck. It's got like a, what they call a vacuum lock in there, all right?
Which is
Now,
air.
which is, yeah, something like a, it could be air, but it's more or less just the grease, and the spring is just not wanting to go, All right. So what you have to do is you have to unscrew this a little bit, I find, and mess around with this to get the plunger to release, because it's stuck in here somewhere, not wanting to push the grease until you get it going again. And this is the hard part of putting grease in the gun, is once you lose your prime, so to speak, it's a real pain in the ass to get it back. You know, and let the air out. And you never want to ever unscrew it far enough for it to fall off, come off. So that comes off with the spring down, all the grease is going to go firing out the gun tube. So never ever unscrew it all the way. No more than 1 or 2 times around should be enough. And all we got to do is we got to keep doing this until the stupid plunger starts to work. And this is the hardest part about, and this is the same way even if you use a tube or you fill it yourself. Makes no difference. It's still a pain in the fucking behind to get it to start again. You have to keep messing with that stupid spring until you can get it to start. You can pause it now until I get this thing going. Okay, good. Keep an eye out for when it comes out. Came out. Son of a bitch. I didn't expect it to blow the cap off the top. Huh? I have never had that happen before. Hammer, you never use a hard hammer to put anything on you don't want dented. And it just, see how it sits down? Nice. I bet. Okay. So I would say that that's greased. That's full. You ain't getting no more in there. Blew the top clean off. I never had that happen before. Now we're going to go around and do this one next. See if I can blow this one off. Maybe all I have to do is lift the pressure off the wheels, and that'll make it come out the bottom as opposed to coming out the top. You know what I mean? So, yeah, this is something new for me.
Bottle jack now.
Yeah.
Get the pressure off the wheels.
To hopefully allow the grease to flow into the fittings without blowing the top off. But of course, it's just a slight hair too fucking big.
Just go ahead and add the grease and see what happens.
Well, it's supposed to just come out the bottom.
All right. We'll see.
All right, but not today. It has to be a pain in the fucking drain. So we'll clean off some of this. And we'll see if it goes in. Because you shouldn't have to put more than about 10 squeezes in there. And I can hear air coming out. Jesus Christ, it's gonna do it again. I don't know why.
Why don't you pry the top off of that and see?
No, I don't want to do that. Because you shouldn't have to do that. Okay. I don't know why that didn't come out at the bottom. It's weird. It's just as well we jack it up anyway, because you want to turn the wheels to get to the other wheel fittings anyway. So jacking it up kind of like gives it a less pressure on the front so that you can turn the wheels and be able to get to the other fittings. So it's actually a good thing in a way.
We have the brake on, so it can't roll back. Show you the brake
Okay.
on. Hold up towards the
Alright, so now the wheels are free to turn. I don't know why this thing did not come out at the bottom unless it just has so much dirt in there that it couldn't find its way out. Now see, this one is not turning as tight as this one, but this one's loaded with lots of grease. This thing got a lot of grease in it. Yeah, anyway. So we'll did it again. You son of a bitch. Did it again. God damn it. I don't understand this. It shouldn't be doing that. It should be coming out the bottom here. Fuck. Alright.
before, you've seen it come out the bottom.
Yeah. Don't ask me why. I even took the pressure off and it still blew it off. You got a tissue?
So he's placed.
Just give me one.
You don't need more than one, John. Just keep them. Place the cap back on. Now he's going to use the rubber hammer to.
Yeah, for some reason, the grease is not coming out the bottom. It's coming out the top. It's blowing the tops off. And I don't know why it's doing that. That should be seeping out the bottom here, but it's not. So I would say put no more than probably 5 to 7 squirts of grease in there to keep it from blowing off the tops from now on. Okay? All right. So the next thing you have to do, that's that grease fitting, okay? All right. All right. So we're going to come back over here because there's other fittings on here that have to be done too as well. Okay, now here's your air pressure valve right here. Okay, and then, what the hell is it?
Right here.
Oh, it's on that side?
Right here.
Okay. There's also another grease fitting right here that you have to clean off because of the dirt. Okay. Clean some dirt off because this is the most dirty environment machine you can possibly think of. So it's not unusual to have a lot of dirt on it. And I think that may be the reason why these are not coming off. There must be grass or something stuck up in here, which is keeping it from exhaling basically out. But okay, so now once you get your grease fitting exposed, kinda, all right, you can, you got to get all the grass off these wheel spindles because there's a lot of it. Okay, that mixes with the grease once you grease it. All right, so now you clean off your spindle, your grease fitting port, and you put your grease gun on there and you grease it. And you wait to see it come out one end or the other.
I'm sure a good 10 pumps are enough.
Yeah, probably.
It's 14 pumps.
Is that how many I put in? This thing's a grease pig.
Well, if you did this 25 hours ago, I'm sure it's...
I didn't. I cheated. I lied. Supposed to do it every 25. I've been negligent. Probably won't take a couple more. It's good to spin the wheel because then the grease gets into the bearings better. Okay, see it starting to come out here? All right? Right here?
Sure.
See? It's right down in here. You're covering all the light. Back up a little bit.
There it is.
See the grease right here?
Okay.
That's coming out now, so you don't have to put any more in.
All right.
Okay? All right. So that's that. You have that fitting, this fitting. Okay, now you go to your other side here, and you have to clean all the grease off. Grass, actually. Clean all my grass and shit off here. Lots of dirt.
a lot of grease and dirt, mostly just grass built up on here. You gotta just get all that grass built up off. You have your light. A lot of grass built up on here.
We need to do a better job of blowing that off when we're done mowing.
You ain't gonna be able to blow it off. The grease holds it on.
With water.
You ain't gonna get it with water. I can hardly get it off with my finger. Okay. So you clean this one up. You clean this side up. And now, here, you can take this out of the way. See, it's starting to seep through. You can see right here, it's starting to come out. That means that you got enough in there. See how it's building up on the outside there?
Yeah, right on the edge. Yeah.
Right, so that means you got enough in there. You don't have to put any more. You're done. Okay?
So now you've done these 4. Okay.
These 4 are done now.
Side.
2 on each side. Okay, now the next ones you gotta have to do are the 3 spindle ones. Okay? And the 3 spindle ones are right up in here. Okay? Now, you could do this one of 2 ways. You can jack the engine, the whole thing up, and be looking in there when you do it, or you can I spy it from the side as you do it. Okay?
Well, let's spy it from the side and see how we go.
All right. So we're going to clean this nipple thing off right here. Okay, where the grease goes in, right on top. Put your grease gun right on top of here, like so. Okay, and then holding it straight, you start greasing. And this shouldn't take as much because we just did these. Now, to check it, you have to take your light, okay, and you have to put it up under here, and you have to look in from that side. So you take your camera, put it up under the side there, and see if you can see. See any grease coming through? Tell you what, why don't you pump and I'll photograph. Okay, as you're pumping, the grease comes down into the spindle here, and right in this area here, right there, and you're going to see grease come out of that cap. When the grease comes out of that cap, you know you have enough in there.
So this is a 2-person job.
Pretty much. Okay, you're coming out. Stop. Now you see the grease coming out right there of the cap. That means you have enough inside. Okay? And you can go on to your next spindle, which is right here on the outside. Okay? All right, I'll get it. I'll get it.
Well, no, I need to be able to get it. Doesn't it just pull right off?
Yeah. Pull it straight and it comes off. Okay, now go watch your video over here.
I will watch it.
I still got it going. And I have it aimed on the next one. Clean the cap, the little plug that you plug your grease gun into again on the top. Put your grease gun on the top. Tell me when it's coming out the bottom, would you? Shouldn't be very much because we did these just recently. Tell me when you see it coming out of the cap. Do you see it coming out the cap? You'll see it right there coming out the cap. Nothing?
Nothing yet.
Keep going. It's got to be coming out. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's coming out the back. Is it not? No.
Grass back there. Grass.
Jesus Christ. Nothing?
Here it comes.
Okay.
Just
Coming?
start- just
All right, that's
start.
good. Don't want to put too much in. Okay, so we're going to do the same for the other one on the other side.
So right there. Right there.
And there's this other one on this.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Good.
We are sideways.
What?
We are sideways here.
Sounds like it's coming out.
I think it is. Here. Look at it. I think it's coming out. Hold on.
Let me just figure. Water's coming out. That's what's coming out. But it's coming, it's getting there. Pushing the water out, that's good. Running out of grease. Can you believe it took a whole grease gun to do this thing? Damn.
Back towards you. You're not even touching it.
Yes, I am.
No, honey, no.
What? There's no grease, it's just water coming out. I gotta put more grease in the gun. I got some that I took from the caps. All right, now what? I don't want to go on. I have another tissue. I got one. Could you put the light up here? I want to make sure the grease is going in the fitting. I got it. Hold the bottom of the gun for me. Tell me when you see come out.
I can't see a thing without the light.
Okay. Coming out?
I think I
Huh?
thought I thought I saw a spurt. Hold on.
Huh? Anything?
Well, I see grease coming out, but it's been just sitting there. It's like there's nothing more coming out.
Nothing? All right. Ow. Shit. Can I see the light? hurt.
We finished this last one, so that's 3 on the deck. This one right here, one in the center, and the one on. All those grease. 2, 3, 4.
Now that you have all your grease fittings done, you can do your belt inspections by looking up in here and just seeing if there's anything that looks like it's busted or broken.
Can you spin them? So
No.
that you can see all of them. You can't spin them.
Yeah, but you can see them right here.
Okay.
Yeah, if they're wearing down, you'd know. Okay. You check for any fasteners that might be broken or busted off. Go around and you look at all your linkages and things like that to make sure there's nothing loose or falling out. Just take a look around, make sure that stuff is still tight, looks tight.
Doesn't hurt to touch the screws to make sure
No.
nothing's loose.
No, don't. No, and you just go around, do your inspection of all your fasteners, things of that nature. Okay, to make sure that there's nothing that is coming loose and coming down, basically. Okay, and that's pretty much
The
all there.
blades, do we touch the blades to see if they're loose?
No.
Nothing.
They shouldn't ever be. But if they did, you would have a rattling noise.
Okay.
Okay? So now you've done your bolts and nuts inspection. It's time to go back to your oil change. Okay? So you come back here and you put your light on to make sure that all the oil has stopped dripping out. Okay?
Yep. It's all
So stop dripping. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to remove your oil filter. Okay? Your oil filter is right here. Okay?
yellow one down there, yeah?
Correct. Now, here's where you're going to want to use some tissues. What'd you do with all your tissues?
Hold on.
Okay, now for getting that oil filter off, there are a multitude of tools that I have to do that. This is for Toyota. It might fit, but I doubt it. This is for a unilateral fit. It might fit, but maybe not. But I'm going to try one of these grippy things first. And maybe this will just be enough to get it going, okay? If not, we'll have to find the right size wrench to put on there, one of the others, okay? But what we're going to do is we're going to, okay, come back over here and I'm not really sure you should put this on, but I'm going to do it anyway because hopefully it drained out all of the oil from the oil filter, okay? And we won't have a problem. So I'm just going to reattach that back so I can move the oil drip pan over to the other side, okay? So I want to get the oil drip pan up over here because I have a feeling that the shit's going to go right out that opening right there, okay? And it looks like, I don't know, I'm not going to be able to use this. Nope, this ain't the tool, okay? I know what tool we're going to have to use. And that's this tool right here. This is the tool, and you're going to need a ratchet, okay, to use it. So you're going to need one of these ratchets because they fit right in there. But in this application, I think we're going to need an extension, a little extension, not a big long one, but a little one. But this is all experimental, never done it before, so That's why I'm making this video, so that you know everything is not as automatic as they show it in a lot of videos. A lot of stuff is not automatic. Okay, so this is going to fit. Okay, and you want righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Okay, so try this and see if this works. If that doesn't go down on there, it kind of like does. Okay, so you have to hold it. Nope. Got it on backwards. Okay, now we have it loose. We can hopefully take this off and oil won't go everywhere, but I have a feeling it will. Yeah, so apparently,
There's some right here.
yeah, so apparently when you drain the oil out, it comes out of the filter as well. Okay, so when you're changing your oil at 25-hour increments, you're going to be...
There's a bag right here.
No, that's all right. Okay, I have to show you what we do with the old oil filter. We come back up here to where you have your bench, okay? All right? Now, when you buy filters, okay, you can buy aftermarket air filters, you can buy aftermarket fuel filters, but you cannot, I do not recommend buying aftermarket oil filters, especially for small equipment. For the bigger stuff, maybe your motors and your cars and stuff, yes. But for small equipment, I do not recommend it, because these things, like this has a drain back in it. If you were to get an aftermarket one, it might not have a drain back in it. You go and open it, and you're going to get a half a quart of oil all over the place.
Kohler.
Correct. This is a Kohler.
Let's look at it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to show you.
All right, hold on. I want to see the numbers. Number 5205002.
Okay.
Pro Performance Oil Filter by Kohler.
Okay. Now here's where I keep all my oil filters. Right up here for the cars, bikes, equipment, everything. And if you note, this is a genuine Kohler oil filter for the 54. Okay? So what I do, you do next, you bring it over here to your bench.
Now that has an S on the end, where it does not have an S on the end of yours.
Yeah, it doesn't. Because see, they don't put it on the actual filter. Okay, so you take it out of your box, throw your box away, but actually...
We have another box.
We have 4 of these.
Yeah.
I usually buy them the best I can, but I don't, usually I don't like to, I'm starting to not have to store shit. Okay, so I'm cutting down to like maybe 1 or 2 maximum that I store, because I have a whole can full of oil filters for that 1200, and there's no way in the world I'm going to use up those 10 oil filters that I have on that bike that I don't ride anymore. So they kind of like are obsolete. So now you just put your oil filter in here.
And what we did was we took a little oil from the top of that and greased up the seal.
Right.
The
Grease the seal on the new one.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can throw that away now. And then this goes back onto the machine. So now you take your rag and you clean up around where the seat of the filter is. Okay. Make sure it's nice and clean. Okay.
Okay, so let me get a camera down there.
Okay.
Otherwise,
Nice and clean.
that's where the oil filter goes on that circle.
Right.
And the
Yeah.
circle goes in the center, so we'll see
Correct.
that.
So then you hold this at a 45 or 90 degree angle, actually 90 degrees. Try and find that little circle again with the screw on it. And you start your oil filter, and don't do it by hand only. And see me moving it back and forth to get it level and on the threads, because you do not want to cross thread it, because then you're really screwed. You're either going to cross thread your engine, or you're going to cross thread the filter. Okay? Now you get it down where it's finger tight. Okay? All right? And then I take a rag and
Fist tight.
I turn it about another 2/3 to half a turn. Just as much as you can do hand tight. Okay? You do not want to use a wrench.
Oh, no wrench at all.
No, not when you put them back on. Okay?
All right.
Also, we'll be doing the gas filter when it comes in. It's not here, but it's right here.
Yep.
Okay? And the air filter is right here when it comes in. But we won't be doing those today. Okay? So now we have the oil filter changed. Now we have to come back over here and we have to button up our oil drain so that this will hold oil. So what we got to do is put this back on. And righty tighty it down. You will feel resistance when you start getting it tight in this other wrench. See, because it will, see how it twists? You do not want it to wiggle or twist when you're tightening this, because if you do, you could break it off. And then you'll have oil leaking out all over the place. Okay? See how I
So you're
turn?
basically putting pressure on it downward.
Yes.
One in the back. Okay.
All right. Now you see how I turn the wrench around so that I can get a little bit more tightness? Okay? You have to turn the wrench around sometimes. And give it a little tweak. And then that's it.
Okay.
Okay? Then you take your 2 wrenches off. Okay? All right? And you've got all your oil out. Now, to put your oil back in, you have to put it in over here. And it says on here, do not overfill. And where you want it to be is you want it between the L, the full, and the low. Between those two openings. Okay? All right? All right. So now, what you do is you go and get your oil ready. Okay? Now here's where your book comes in handy, because you can see how many quarts you expect to put in with an oil filter change. Okay? So you bring down your book and wrong book.
In the house?
Huh? No. It's right here. All right. You go into your book,
The red book.
and there should be capacities. Here's oil here. It says what recommended viscosities, and they say 1030 if you're in real cold climates. We're not in a cold climate here in Florida, so you can use the SAE 30, but that's a single weight oil. SAE 15W40 is the equivalent. Okay, that's why I use it. All right.
So we could write that in here so we know what to use.
You have it on the video, dear.
Well,
Okay.
I don't want to have to go through a whole video. If I remember what I need to do, I just want to be able to look at the page and know what oil to use.
15W40. Okay, now in here, we should find the capacities. What you're looking for is the capacities for the motor. And per usual, they're probably not going to be in here because they'll have them in the owner's manual, because that's where they want to tell you all about this good stuff. Over here, I've even written in some of the filter numbers and stuff, the fuel pump and everything else that you may or may not need. Okay, but in here, it should have a section on how much oil that thing takes when, okay, oil level. Here, it says explain. Reinsert dipstick. Okay, remove dipstick, wipe off, reinsert. Okay, now, that's when you're measuring it, all right? Oil and oil filter. Here we go. All right, we got that all changed out. Looking down here, and I don't see a capacity. Jesus Christ, I'll tell you. These stupid fucking manuals, I'll tell you, these goddamn people at these. Oh, here we go. Here's some engine specifications. Oil fill, 2 US quarts, okay? Refill, okay? But that's not with the oil filter, I guarantee you, okay? That is only if you change the oil, period, okay? So, that being said,
That oil filter holds probably a cup and a half.
yeah, so,
Estimate.
yeah, so, all right. So I have a oil measuring cup here, which holds quarts, half quarts, and ounces. Okay? And on the side here, you'll see it says 32 ounces, 1 quart. Okay? And I do 1 quart at a time, putting it in. Okay? Of regular dyno oil.
We don't want synthetic
Because it's not really required, and it's not, there's no benefit in it because you're changing it so often. You're changing it like every 25 hours. No other engine do you do that to. Okay? So here's 1 quart, and we got our filler.
Do you want to bring this? You
No.
have to come all the way back.
Yeah, you got to be on a level surface. Leave
Well,
it here.
The floor is the level surface.
I don't know. So now we insert this in the filler tube. Okay.
Oh, hold on.
1 quart at a time. It says it calls for 2. Okay.
We lifted the seat forward, so we had a little more elbow room.
Yeah, to work. Pour it slowly because you don't want it to overflow, back up. What you'll end up with, it may burp itself and burp out oil all over the engine. So you don't want to pour it too fast. Pour it so it doesn't back up on you. Okay, and now put another 2 quart in. Okay, so this is 2 quarts. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in like 1 quart and 3/4, and then I'm going to check it. Okay.
Change the oil filter every time we change the oil.
No, we do not.
Okay.
Every 100 hours we change the oil filter.
Okay.
Every 25 hours we change the oil.
Okay. What do you need?
Oh, nothing.
The dipstick is right here.
No, I need a. Oh, you got a tissue?
Yeah, there's tissues all around.
Yeah. Okay.
So we put
1,
in just
2,
two.
3, 4, all the way in,
All the way in.
Yeah.
It doesn't screw. Okay.
and we're right at the low spot on the engine dipstick.
Okay.
Okay.
Finish adding more.
So we'll finish adding up the rest because we do not want to overfill. That's worse than underfill. Okay. While we wait for that to drain down a little bit, we can put some of our tools away and get them out of our face and out of our way. Stick the tools back where they belong.
Those are those open-ended wrenches. Snap the holes with the oil.
Okay, so now we'll check the oil again. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and now it's right at the full mark. Right at the full mark. Second hole is full. See how the... Okay, so it's right at the full mark on 2 quarts. So we're good there. Put that back.
Right, so we changed the oil filter this time,
Right,
and so we added 2 quarts.
right.
Now, when we don't change the oil filter, how much should we put in?
2 quarts. As a matter of fact, it may even say on the side of the engine here.
That's what I thought we should do, is write it with a marker here.
No.
To make life
Well,
easier.
thing is, they don't even put it on the side of the motor, I don't think. Okay, but, all right. That's 2 quarts and it's full, right? Now,
When you run it, it may get into that
Oil
filter and
filter.
be less.
right, so it's gonna go down when you start it. So what
We'll
you
double
do
check it again.
after you run it one time, set it down, let it sit for a minute, and then you take another measurement. You may have to put another 1/3 of a quart in, okay? But for the oil change, you're good enough to go for now, okay?
All right, so we have to double check it after we run it the first time after an oil and a filter change.
Right,
Because it's gonna get sucked into the filter and be a little on the low side. So
Right.
that's what we have to do.
so then you come back over here with your oil back to the bench. Set this up like this and let that drip back in so you don't waste any oil. Now, we've done oil change, grease job. Now we have to check the tire pressures, okay, and the tires. And then that's all we'll be able to do for today, except for one other little thing, and that would be to blow out the air filter. To
I looked on here earlier, I'm going to show you. I looked on here earlier, and it said, tubeless tire, da-da-da-da-da. Here we go, 4-ply, max inflation, here we go.
Yep.
Max inflation, this is the back tire, 22 PSI. So the back 2 tires are 22 PSI,
okay,
and the front tire is how much? Let's see what the front tire is. Totally different. All right, front tire says, here we go, max inflation, 28 PSI.
28, 22.
Yep,
So if you're 20 or 25, you'd be good.
22 in the back.
All right, so take this off, put my gauge on, and I got about 15 pounds. So we can add some air. Run 22 and 20 in the back. Should be good enough.
Okay, with the seat lifted.
Okay, with the seat lifted, you're going to see a little white tank right here. On the side here are the measurements. We're full, hot, that kind of shit
And
is
what
on the
in
side.
this- What is in this tank?
That is the hydraulic fluid for the gear drives. Okay, all right, and right here, if you see this, it says FUL when it's at this little point here. That means it's full. Okay? All right? And it calls for, I believe, automatic transmission fluid. And that's for your transmissions, which are right here. There's one on this side, and there's one on that side. So you have 2 transmissions in this, on each side. Okay? And that is what those are for. That's the hydraulic fluid for the transmissions. Okay? Now, so that is that. Now the last thing we're going to do
You
here,
want to look at the battery for a second and make sure there's no corrosion and stuff?
I already did, just did.
I know you already did, but let's make sure in our video we talk about
There's nothing there.
remove that, make sure there's no corrosion on either terminal.
Right. So that's good. Now the thing, last thing we're going to
And
do,
that they're not loose.
yeah. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to blow out the air filter. We do not have the new one yet, so we're just going to clean the old one with a compressed air.
Low battery.
Okay? So we're going to pull this off. What's low battery? The phone? Oh, okay. And we're going to just pull this out like this. Okay? Right? And it has all kinds of dust and shit in here. Okay? All right? But then what you want to do is get a clean piece of paper or something to plug that hole up with. The intake. You want to put that in there. The reason you put that in there is when you blow all this off, you don't want any dust going up in there.
We're going outside to blow it off.
No, we're not. Do it right here. Okay? All right. So you would take your little nozzle, put it on, like this, and go from the inside out, not the outside in. And just blow off the dust. And at 100 hours, we should be replacing this, but we're not. We're just going to blow it out for now. And we have a replacement coming. And as soon as it gets here, we will.
Order. And it'll be replaced as soon as.
Yeah.
That might be.
I do it every 25 hours. When I change the oil, I blow it out. Been doing it ever since it was new. And this is the original factory filter. Okay, and then you blow out the inside of the battery, the box here, and don't forget to put your little plug in there to keep stuff from blowing inside the carburetor. To the
Bulb in there.
right. Okay. So then once you're done blowing that all out, remove your plug. Okay, and this goes in this way
Oh, the empty
from
hole was
left
in
to
the-
right. Okay. And it slips right onto that hole, and then it just wedges itself down in the bottom here. You just push it down. Okay, and that's it. Then all you do is you take a rag, okay, and you can wipe this out a little bit. Not a big deal, you don't really have to, but I do. Might get extra millicron. Then this goes back with the Kohler so you can read it. Okay? So you can read it. And then you just put your 2 clips on, and you're done. Okay? Now that's all finished. All right? So now what today we've done is we've greased, we've changed the oil filter, 100-hour service. We have checked all of the components to make sure nothing's falling off. And we have cleaned the air filter, and we have to wait for the gas filter to remove and replace those. But once we get them, we'll replace them, and the 100-hour service will be done. Okay? Now, the next thing we want to do is, this is something that's not in the manual. I'm going to take my battery tester. I'm going to see if I can test that battery and get a reading on it to see how good it is or how bad it is. Okay? All my testers are right up here. And that, okay? My electrical testers. Okay? Now this is for automotive, 12 volt. This is a 12 volt battery. So, I am not sure if this battery capacity is big enough to be tested on this meter, but we will give it a shot and see. So you hook your negative to your negative, and your positive, red, to the positive. Okay, and it looks like it will read it. Okay, so then, okay, English, yes. Out of vehicle, no. Select charge before charge. Yeah. Regular flooded. Yeah. All right. What are the cold cranking amps on this? You see the cold cranking amps? That's what you got to have next. 230. So you set this at 230. Okay. Then you hit OK. Now it tests it. What it's doing is it's testing to see if the battery's any good. State of health is 100%. State of charge is 98%. It's got 260 amps, and it's in good shape. Okay? So your battery is good. So you don't have to worry about buying a battery. Put your cap back on, like so. Make sure this positive is on. Then close your seat down, and you're pretty much all done with this for today. So that is a completed service of this mower at 100 hours. Okay?
All right, thank you.
The difference between 100 hours and 25 hours is at 25 hours you don't change the oil filter, gas filter, or air filter. You just clean what you can, which is just the air filter. And that's all you do at the 25 service, is you change the oil and
This is where we
service
read
the air filter.
hours.
And the hours are right there on the hours meter.
Hours, and I think the last time I looked at it was 99.2.
And then don't forget to put your
Plate back on.
plate back on, or you'll be stepping in a really big hole. Put your little thumb screw in.
Now we're going to take it outside, run it for a second, and then check the oil again.
Yeah, you're going to run it right out to the shed where it belongs. Yeah, you're going to run it to the shed, then check the oil again. Top it up if necessary. And this service is done. Okay?